Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Let us see what the statement of this theorem is. Every composite number can be expressed as a product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. This is the statement. Now, for example, if you take any composite number that can be factorized as product of primes regardless of possible order of writing them. So we can write it in as many ways as we can. It differs from person to person. So if we take a number x which is composite, and this can be written like this: p1 into p2 into p3 into so on pn, where this p1 p2 p3 and so on pn are distinct primes. That means they are all different primes. So in order to differentiate or remove the writing in order, what we have done here is we will follow ascending order while writing the primes of a composite number. So here we have written like this: p1 is less than or equal to, p2 is less than or equal to, p3 is less than or equal to, so on, that is equal to pn. Okay, fine. If p1 is less than p2, so we'll write the smallest one first. Then if p2 is less than p3, then we write the smallest one first here, like this. So here we have no question. But what happens if it is equal? If it is equal, we'll combine them and write them so that we can raise their powers. So from this statement we have to recall the definitions and examples of a prime number, a composite number, and what is a prime factorization. So let us see. A number which has only two factors, that is 1 and itself, is called a prime number. You know this already, just we are recalling it. And I took some examples for these: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 and so on. So what about a composite number? A number which has more than two factors is called a composite number, or which is not prime is called a composite number. And I took some examples: 4, 6, 8, 15, 36 and so on. You can give lot number of examples there. Then we'll see about prime factorization. This you might have done in your lower classes. Just for recalling, we are doing this. Prime factorization, I took a composite number 24, and the first and smallest prime number which divides 24 is 2. So 2 divides 24 12 times. Again 2 divides 12 6 times, and this 6 is again divided by 2 3 times. So 3 is also a prime number, so no need of further doing this division. So I have written that 24 is a product of 2 into 2 into 2 into 3. Just like we have discussed earlier, that you can see here the primes here, this 2, this 2, this 2 are equal. If we say this is p1, p2 and p3, the last one, that is p4. Here in place of p1 we have 2, here also we have 2, here also we have 2. What happened here? p1 is equal to p2 and p2 is equal to p3, and this is p4 is a little different, and that is 3, and which is greater than the remaining 3 factors. So here we have same number repeated 3 times. So this we will write it as 2 power 3. So this is about prime factorization. So next we'll see about LCM and HCF in prime factorization. How we calculate using this prime factorization. So if A and B are any positive integers, then the product of A and B is equal to the product of LCM and HCF. So this is written in the mathematical form. Show you here, this is a first number, positive number, and this is second one, and the product of these two numbers is equal to the LCM and HCF of those two numbers. This is a very good result by which we can find either of the unknown values. If we don't know this one, we can divide LCM into HCF divided by B, then we will get A. Or else if we want to find B, so we can write LCM into HCF divided by A. Or otherwise we don't know LCM, then we can write it as A into B divided by HCF. Or else we want to find HCF, that is equal to A into B divided by LCM. So this is a very good result by which we can find any of the unknown value by using the given values. So how to find LCM using prime factorization? See, LCM is equal to product of the smallest power. You should remember this one, the product of smallest power of each common factor. So here two things you have to remember while finding HCF by prime factorization. First we have to choose the smallest power of common factor of the numbers. So we'll say about LCM, the product of greatest power of each prime. So that is the difference between these two. Here we are taking the smallest power of only the common factors. Unlike in LCM, we will take the greatest power of every prime factor. So whatever the factors are available in it, we will take them. So this is the difference between LCM and HCF while we apply prime factorization. Let us see some examples. So as you know, we have written this one, the smallest power of each common factor. This is for HCF. So here I have taken two numbers, 24 and 36. First we will find factors for 24, and since we have here three equal factors, I have written in the form of parts. And now for 36 it is equal to 2 power 2 into 3 power 2. So according to this definition and our the rule, we have to find HCF by prime factorization. We have to choose the smallest power of common factors. See here, for 24 we have 2, and in 36 also we have 2. For 24 we have 3 as one of the prime factors, and here also we have 3. So we have common factors here 2 and 3. Here also we have 2 and, so these two are common in two numbers, 36 and 24. So in these two common factors we have to choose the smallest power. What is the smallest power for 2? 2 square, and the smallest power for 3 is 3 power 1. So the HCF will be 2 power 2 into 3 power 1. Similarly, we'll take one more example. Here I have taken three numbers, 8, 9 and 25. Just like the earlier one, we will find out the prime factorization, and for 8 it is 2 cube, and for 9 it is 3 square, and for 25 it is 5 square. So this is little different. You see here we have 2 and here we have 3 and here we have 5. So no prime number is common here. So when this type of case arises, we have to remember that 1 is factor for every number. Since we have no other prime numbers common, then obviously HCF will be equal to 1. Simply speaking, these three numbers 8, 9 and 25 will become co-primes. Whenever the HCF becomes 1, those numbers are called as co-primes. So let us see one more example. 72 and 108. So 72 can be written as 2 power 3 into 3 square, and 108 can be written as 2 square into 3 cube. So here clearly we can find that 2 and 3 are common factors, and the smallest power for 2 is 2 square and smallest power for 3 is 3 power 2, that is 3 square. So this is how we find HCF for any numbers using prime factorization. So let us see about LCM. How we apply this one for LCM. So same numbers I have considered here, and as we have seen earlier, we'll get this one. So here, according to the rule, we have to apply the greatest power we have to consider of each prime factor. How many prime factors are available for each of them? If they are common, we have to consider the greatest one. If they are not common, we have to select the uncommon prime factors. So here we have 2 and 3 as common, and we have to choose the greatest ones here. So 2 cube into 3 square, 8 into 9, that is 72. And next, we have seen this already earlier, and the LCM will become the greatest parts. 2 is individual, 3 is individual, and 5 is individual. So we have taken them all and multiplying, we will get the result. So for 72 it is 2 cube into 3 square, and 108 it is 2 square into 3 cube. Then the LCM becomes, here also we have 2 and 3 as common numbers. So the greatest power for 2 is 3 and the greatest power for 3 is 3 cubes. The LCM is 2 cube into 3 square, right? So we'll see in the same topic, as we are applying fundamental theorem of arithmetic to all these topics. So we are seeing one by one. Now we'll see about rational numbers and their decimal expansion. So we have 3 theorems given in our textbook. So using these 3, we can directly, without division, say that whether it is a rational number or an irrational number. So we'll see the statement of 1.3 theorem and we'll analyze it, what it says. Let x be any rational number. You have to remember that every rational number will be in the form of p by q, and q is not equal to 0 always, and GCD or p comma q are always co-primes. Co-primes means HCF of p and q is always equal to 1. So this is the definition of a rational number whose decimal expansion terminates. Terminates means it becomes 0. The remainder becomes 0. Then x can be expressed in the form of p by q, where p and q are co-primes, and the prime factorization of q is in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m, where n and m are non-negative integers. So what they are saying is, if x be any rational number whose decimal expansion terminates, when we divide those rational numbers, the remainder is 0. When the remainder is 0, it terminates, it stops there. Then the number which is in the denominator, here it is q, can be written in the form of, when we factorize it, it comes in the form 2 power n into 5 power m, where n and m are both positive integers. Then we'll see about 1.4. Basically it is just converse of the previous theorem 1.3. We'll see the definition. Let x is equal to p by q be a rational number such that the prime factorization of q is in the form of 2 power m n into 5 power m, where n and m are non-negative integers. Then x has a decimal expansion which terminates. You remember this one? This termination we have seen in the previous theorem 1.3, the first statement you can see here. And about the writing q in this form is in the last sentence. But whereas in this converse, they have given it in the reverse way. See here, if a rational number is in this form, then the expansion will terminate. So this is 1.4 theorem, and one more theorem we have, the last one, theorem 1.5. Here this says that if any rational number is in the form of p by q such that the prime factorization of q is not in the form, you can see here, not in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m, where n and m are non-negative integers, then x has a decimal expansion which is non-terminating and so these are the three theorems which will be useful in solving the problems. We'll see next. We shall see about the rational numbers, how they behave when we divide them, when they are in the p by q form. When p is divided by q, then if it is terminating, one is non-terminating and repeating, and the last one is non-terminating, non-repeating. These are the three types of divisions we can see. And a rational number is in the form of p by q, where q denotes denominator, then q is of the form, according to theorem 1.3 and 1.4, it is of the form 2 power n into 5 power m. And this non-terminating repeating is not of that form, according to theorem 1.5. And non-terminating, non-repeating is also of not that form, 2 power n into 5 power m. Then this terminating decimal will become a rational number, definitely, and a non-terminating repeating is also a rational number, and the non-terminating, non-repeating will become irrational numbers, where n and m are non-negative integers. So I hope you understand this video. Thanks for watching.